Thank you for watching. On today's show, we have Sarah Beth Cooper, Sandra Atkinson, and Wade Heggie. It's a great show.
All right, so you're looking to make a career decision that's crazy smart and won't break the bank. Then let's start with tuition guarantee and a home field advantage. That's Meridian Community College, and we're changing the game. We've got heavy metal drilling and saving lives. Or how about building a rover that could drive on Mars? We're more than grades in a classroom. We're your Red Bull monster shot of knowledge that will help you own that next job. This is not just the 13th year. It's the gateway to your entire career. Are you ready for more? Well, the eagle has landed. Find your wings.
Hello, and today we have Miss Sarah Beth Cooper. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Glad to be here.
You are let me make sure I get this right, forensic interviewer and prevention educator at Wesley House.
That is correct.
And your title actually is
expanded.
much bigger.
That's the brief.
Okay, so what exactly do you do at Wesley House?
Well, at the Wesley House, as a forensic interviewer, I get to listen to kids and teens come in and tell their story. If there are allegations of abuse, that child is given the opportunity to come in and sit across from me in a room, just the two of us, and tell their story one time. Okay. Because I work with a multidisciplinary team that we like to call MDT.
Okay.
That team is made up of child protective service workers, law enforcement, counselors, therapists, anyone that could be involved in the case when there are allegations of abuse. And instead of that child having to tell their story to every one of those team members, they just get to come and tell that story to me. And it's recorded for the team members to hear. If that child were to retell their story over and over, more than one time, it could be re-traumatizing.
Sure.
And so as a forensic interviewer, I give that child the opportunity to tell their story once for me, but everybody who needs to hear it gets to come to the table and hear it.
And now the prevention educator portion of your title.
Yes, we are a child advocacy center, but also a sexual assault crisis center.
Okay.
And so as a prevention educator, I get to teach rape prevention and sexual assault prevention and bring awareness to our community. And that looks different. I get to go into our schools in the county. When I could go into the schools in the county on live and in person, now things are a little different and we go in via Zoom meetings. But we get to go and teach what healthy dating looks like versus the red flags of unhealthy dating that could lead to sexual assault.
I remember, because I've got 5 girls, and I remember saying to them on a number of occasions, you know, you have to look out for certain things. And I, on a couple of occasions, I even said, look, this is not normal.
Right.
This is not, you know, you're in a relationship, you should not be treated like this or made to feel like this.
Right.
Why do you think, and I know that so much has been written and talked about with this, but why do you think people who have been abused, or, you know, why do you think they stay in abusive relationships or go back into abusive relationships?
It really is complicated. It's by person. But I do this little activity with the class to help people understand how complicated it is with students. And this activity is I tell the story and I ask them, I'll read a line from the story. I'll say, well, if you would stay, then there's a place where they would stand. I'm staying in this relationship. And then I'll read another line in the story. If you would leave, then you move to this side of the room. And by the end, I've read this story that's not a healthy dating relationship, that is abusive, but it's surprising to see how many choose to stay because of how complicated it can be. For example, in this story, even though it's an abusive relationship, there's so many excuses for this abuser that are made, and you start to feel sorry for the abuser in the story. And so you start to decide, well, I'm going to stay, I'm not going to leave, when you're making this decision for yourself. So it helps you understand a person who's in that situation, how they can get so emotionally wrapped up in those excuses for the abuser, where they decide, well, maybe I will stay. And it could be.
Well, I was just going to say, in my own experience with my kids, I find that they would give excuses.
Yes.
They had a bad family life, or had this, or had this happen to them, or just did this, or just. And I said, wait a minute. And I understand that, and it breaks my heart that all of this happened. But that does not excuse how you are treated.
Right.
You don't have to. You don't have to pay it forward in that way.
Right.
And also, do you find that it's not just women or girls who are on the receiving end of this? It's also men and boys.
Absolutely. Statistics show that it can be 1 out of every 6 male, 1 out of every 4 female. So.
Are men more reticent to talk about it than women, do you think, or?
They are not comfortable talking about it. They will be the last ones to talk about it. And oftentimes, if they do begin to talk about it, it's later in life.
I wonder sometimes, because when I was growing up, you didn't hear as much about stuff like this. And I've heard people say, well, that just didn't happen, or blah blah. And I said, I don't think that's what it was. I think we just didn't talk about it. And now it is so important to talk about. How can people get in touch with you if they might need the services of the Wesley House?
Absolutely. We have a main line that you can contact at the Wesley House. The Wesley House offers counseling services, offers prevention education opportunities. And so we have this main line that you can call, and it's 601-485-4736. And you can call that main line and let them know what you're calling about, whether it be counseling services or the opportunity to volunteer, or whether it be more information on prevention education, or to team up for a community event for a prevention education opportunity. But also, we have a crisis line that we man 24 hours.
Wonderful.
And that crisis line is if you happen to become a victim of sexual assault, or someone you know. And if you find that happens, we have a crisis line where you can call, reach out for help, and get resources. That crisis line is 601-482-2828.
Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for being here. I think this is so important, and because I do feel that we are obligated as a society to publicize, to say, okay, look, this is not acceptable, and to say these are the things you must look for, and to have a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that y'all are a part of that.
Thank you.
You must come back again, and we'll maybe have more time to go further into it.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Become essential at Meridian Community College. Our community is changing, and at MCC, we are built for those who want to serve. Being essential has kept our community going. You can become that here, all at an affordable cost. Whether you dream of helping people through healthcare services or want to transport goods, connecting people with the products they need, we have many unique opportunities to help you find your purpose. Don't wait for change. Be the difference and register today. Become essential at Meridian Community College.
And we have the wonderful Sandra Atkinson with us today, and you are the Associate Dean of Student Services and Athletic Director. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
How's our opening been so far?
So far, so good. Things, we got students moved into housing last week, and obviously yesterday, first day of classes with students on campus. So, so far, so good.
Yes. Now, I wanted you to come on and talk about the athletic director portion of your job. We'll get to the student services in a minute, but how are we handling sports this semester?
Yeah. Well, obviously, it's been a wild 6 months. In March, the NJCA chose to shut down spring sports, and at the same time that schools shut down and turned to online and sent people home. And since then, it's been a process of preparing for what this fall was going to look like. And a couple of months ago, the NJCAA made the decision that nationally, all fall sports would be moved to the spring. So we won't be playing soccer this fall. We won't be starting our basketball season in November as we would. Our golf program will be the only team that actually is participating in official events this fall. I think they have 4 tournaments on the schedule, and golf is the one sport that the NJCAA allowed to participate in an official way during the fall semester.
Well, will the teams be practicing?
Yes, the NJCAA did allow for practice time this fall, and we'll start that next week after we have physicals. We decided to take the first week and really let students get back into school and the way things were going to function from a student standpoint only for this week. And then next week we'll start to transition into practices, and even that we've got some guidelines that we impose to keep things in small groups, doing individual skill work and development so that it's easier to stay 6 feet and stay socially distanced, and hopefully that will go on. We'll do that for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we'll start to let them work into more full team activities.
Now, will the students, our student athletes, be able to go home during this period? Because I know we started on the 17th, August 17th.
Right.
We have one holiday, Labor Day, and then we go through November 23rd, I think, or 20th.
Yes.
So so will they be allowed to, go for weekends?
Yeah, they will. I mean, our student athletes, the vast majority of them live in housing where other students are going and coming and spending weekends away. And we're going to do the same thing with our athletes. They're going to be allowed to go back and forth to home. And I don't think that there was really any way to think we were going to keep them substantially safer by keeping them here with all the other students and commuters that they interact with daily.
Sure. Now, with the housing, are there special precautions that we're taking in housing with our student athletes or with our students?
Well, with our students, certainly there are. The main precautions is we're trying to educate them and make sure they understand how important it is to stay socially distanced, to try to not gather in large groups in your rooms, because it doesn't take, dorm rooms aren't large spaces anyway. It doesn't take very many students to make that a not ideal situation with the number of people. So those things, and obviously the rooms were deep cleaned over the summer to ensure that they were sterile, and then we go from there and hope everybody stays clean and separated and wears masks, and if all things go like that, we got a really good chance to make this successful.
And it seems like spring is going to be pretty crowded.
Spring will be an interesting time for us to have all of our sports playing during the same time. Really what they've done is the traditional spring sports are basically unaffected in what their seasons would look like typically. For us, we've had to take basketball and soccer basketball has a little bit in the spring, now they'll have it all. They're going to play starting in late January up till about spring break. And then soccer will start after spring break and play through the end of school. So it's not as bad as I first feared when we thought what the schedule could be like, but it is certainly going to be more taxing than a typical spring.
Do you think that we will be able to have many spectators at these games, or is that still up in the air?
It's still up in the air to some degree, but the reality is, outside of basketball, the rest of our sports are outdoor.
Right.
And I feel confident that we will be able to have spectators at those. We may have to limit capacity in some of our seating areas, but in our outdoor sports also, there's room around the venue for people if they want to bring lawn chairs. I think we'll be able to have close to what our normal crowds are.
Okay.
Because if we limit the seating in our stands and people bring lawn chairs and are willing to sit in a little different location than they might have in the past, I think we'll be able to keep everybody separated.
And safe.
And safe.
And that's the most important
That's
thing.
right.
How are the students taking, these new, I mean, I know, and as I say in class, I was like, look, this is what the cards we're dealt. This is what we have to deal with.
No doubt.
We're making the best of it. We might as well, let's try to keep a good attitude. How are the student athletes handling it so far?
I think so far they're doing a really good job. I think they're so excited to be back, and I know some of the coaches are so excited to see their teams for the first time since March. I think they realize that if there's some things that aren't normal and aren't as fun as what we expected or are used to, that it's worth the sacrifice if I get to play my sport and get to be with my friends and teammates.
Well, I've had a number of coaches contact me at the Success Center saying, okay, look, they're going to be coming, we're going to be doing this. So I've told these students, I'm like, okay, look, here's your opportunity to get some really good grades this semester.
That's right.
Not that they try to have their good grades anyway, but I mean, here you don't have as many things pulling at your time.
Oh, no question about it.
So you can truly push the grades and make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing to get on top of things and hopefully a little bit ahead.
No question, because yes, their springs will be crowded, and so this fall is a great opportunity for them to do that.
Well, as with anything now, and in this wonderful year 2020 that we've been in, all of this is subject to change.
Absolutely.
Right now, this is what we know. This is what we're working with at the moment. So this information might change, and if it does change, where do people get this information? Where can they find information about?
I guess our athletic information is mostly shared with the coaches, because it's the details of how we're proceeding with practices and procedures that we're using there, where we are doing temperature screens and symptom checks daily. When it comes to spectator size, that information we'll put on our MCCEagles.com, or the athletic portion of our website.
Okay.
Of course, that's several months away, and like you said, this, every plan we make, I think of as a living document that just like you and I, changes daily depending on what's going on. So, and I had to emphasize that to our coaches, that these plans, last week when we met, I said all of these plans are living, breathing things that are going to change as situation changes.
And that's the thing, is like we've got to realize that what we're talking about, and I told my class this morning, I said, okay, this is what we're doing right now at this moment. It might change. I will contact you and let you know, but it might change.
Absolutely.
Listen, Sandra, I want to thank you for being with us today and explaining this, and we will probably have you back.
Sure.
In case there are changes, which there probably will be.
That's right.
But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Lowell.
We'll be right back.
Are you searching for something new? Then Meridian Community College is the place for you. With over 52 career and technical pathways, you can move straight into the workforce in 2 years or less. Get hands-on experience in welding and electrical technology, or go digital in graphic design and media production. You'll discover many opportunities for a new career at a fraction of the cost. Reskill now. Become essential at Meridian Community College. Register today at meridiancc.edu.
And we have Mr. Wade Heggie here today. Welcome, Wade.
Thank you.
Now
You
are our fitness center director.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that so many people don't know in the community. I don't think enough about what we offer here at Meridian Community College. But one of the things is we have a great fitness center.
The fitness center has been here for about 32 years now. It's going great. We're the only facility that has an indoor pool that is used from 6 in the morning until about 8 at night. It's getting a lot of use right now, so it's great.
And
great place to go.
you also have a weight room.
Weight room and cardio area.
Yes, which I use extensively. You can tell by the look.
Which we were able to revamp everything due to the Blue Cross Blue Shield grant of Mississippi, which we got that 2 years ago. So that has helped us a lot to just revamp everything in there.
Now, typically speaking, what are your hours in the fitness center?
Sure. On Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we open at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then 7:30 on Tuesday, Thursday, and then we close either at 8 or 8:45 at nighttime.
Okay. Now, I wanted you on the show to talk about, because we still have the pool, we still have the fitness area, you can still exercise, but what are we doing in the age of COVID?
Sure. The biggest thing is you must register online. You must
Okay.
go to meridiancc.edu and look for Campus Life, and then you'll find the Health and Rec button. Once you click on that, you'll be able to register for a time slot, and that would be for the pool, the cardio, or the weight room.
Okay.
So once you pick what date that you want to use, then another drop-down box will come open, and after that, you will pick the time that you want. And then you are registered to come at that point, whether it's faculty, staff, students, community. So this is for everybody, but we're limiting the number of people, whether it's for the pool, the cardio, or weight room.
Okay. Now, so typically speaking, how long can you register for? Like, is it a 30 minutes,
Sure.
an hour?
45 is what we have it at, so that gives our staff 15 minutes to clean everything down.
Okay.
So after everybody leaves, no matter what we're talking about, we have to wipe down every single chair, every single doorknob, every single desk, a piece of equipment that was used. So everything is disinfected. Our bathrooms, same thing. We disinfect every single thing every hour.
Because normally we would have spaces where people could shower and use our facilities to get dressed and things like that. Are they still able to do that?
The only shower we have open for anybody is on the pool deck, and
Okay.
the lifeguards or the staff are only ones allowed to turn that shower on and off. We have everybody to come dressed, and they will leave dressed.
Okay.
But just to get the smell off of them from the chemicals in the pool, that's a good way just to rinse off, and everybody puts on a towel, and then afterwards they leave. But we want to make sure they come dressed and they leave dressed. So we're limiting that. Common sense bathrooms, you're able to go in there and use, but other parts are closed for now.
And I think with all of it is common sense. If you just use your common sense and realize that we're all in this together, we want you to be able to use our facilities, but we want you to do it safely.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I mean, we started back July 6th,
Right.
and people were just excited just to come back. And they have been open to all the new rules, the policies that have been in place. And one thing I love is when I have doctors come up there and they said, Wade, y'all are doing everything right. It's clean, it's sterile. I mean, we feel safe that it's here. And that's the most important thing. We want to make sure, whoever you are, that you feel safe to come back and use our pool, our weight room, cardio area.
How many people do you allow in the pool at once?
Sure, we limit it to 6. We have 1 swimmer per lane, but the
Okay.
emphasis is if it's a family member, like a spouse, a brother, a sister, they're able to share that same lane.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's 1 person per lane.
Do you allow the same for the weight room? Can
Same
family?
thing, yeah, same thing too. We have reduced that by half for the weight room. Our cardio is reduced by half, too.
Well, if they're taking one of our classes, one of our exercise classes, how do we handle this, the keeping people safe?
Sure. We disinfect everything from each time, but also we have floor tape that's marked on the floor. So where each class, whether it's the spin class, a yoga class, this is your spot. So we will make sure it is marked off on there.
I was so thrilled when y'all did open because, like I said, just to be able to get out of my house. You get tired of your family after a little bit. I know I do.
and that's the thing. A lot of the people just wanted to come back where it's a sense of it's normal again.
Yeah.
People were happy to see everybody again, and it was just a family. And that was one thing that we tried to do. And another thing that we're doing, they come in one door, they leave through a different door. So we're limiting the flow. So once you come in one door, we want everybody to go out the side door also.
Now, in addition to registering, when they come in, what type of identification do they need to show you? Or do they need to show any
They don't need to show anything right
Nothing?
now. Nothing
Okay.
at all. We're just trying to keep everything small. So most everybody, when they sign up online, we know who they are. We can able to figure out if they're a student, if they're faculty, if they're staff, a community person. So the community, of course, will need to sign up. They'll need to pay and everything else, but everybody else, we're able to figure out who they are and stuff.
Okay. Well, how much do we charge for using our facilities?
Sure. A one-day pass is $10 for them. For the semester to use the pool, it's $125. But we do have things that want to use the weight room and cardio too.
Okay. So you said the one-day pass is $10. And for that one-day pass, you're able to use the pool, the weight room,
And the
the
cardio.
cardio facilities.
Yes.
And then the $125 for the
Is
semester.
For the semester.
And that's also using the pool, the weight room, and cardio facilities.
Correct.
Okay. Now, if they wanted to take a class of some sort,
Sure.
That's different.
That's different, and that is $70 if you're over the age of 62,
Okay.
and $100 if you're under the age of 62.
Okay, okay. Now, as with anything that we're doing right now, all of this is subject to change.
Correct.
So, you know, we are trying our best to stay abreast and stay on top of any new developments.
Sure.
And I know that you are as well. So you're trying to say, okay, what we know, based on what we know right now, what we're doing is keeping you as safe as we possibly can.
Correct.
And that's what we want to continue
And that
doing.
changes every single day. And we're trying to keep up on it. One thing that I'm happy to serve on is a national board for USA Swimming. And
Okay.
part of that is we get updates all the time, how to get to the water safely.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already received 5 emails this week on it. And we talk a lot. And that's one thing that's great about in my line of work. Businesses that we're in, we're communicating with everybody. We're
Yeah.
talking about what works and what's not.
Yes.
One thing I'm glad the MCC has done is we actually have a fogger machine. So
Yes.
we're able to disinfect using the fog instead of having to wipe everything down by hand. And that makes it quicker and everything else. So that part's really, it's helped us out.
Okay. Listen, thank you so much
Goodbye.
for coming and explaining this to us. As I said, we want people to use our facilities, but we want to do it as safely as we possibly can. And I really appreciate the information.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
We'll be right back.
With so much uncertainty in our world, we are thankful for the heart and determination of those who have followed their calling in healthcare. They work tirelessly on the front lines every day to make a true difference in our community. At Meridian Community College, we take pride in training these heroes and are grateful for their service in this time of great need. These eagles found their wings at Meridian Community College.
Thank you for watching MCC Today. On behalf of Matt Milner, our executive producer, and me, and all of these wonderful students, welcome back to this semester. It's going to be great.